What was the driver for the creation of the Office for Environmental Programs?
Well, firstly, before I answer, let me say hi everybody. I'm so sorry I can't be there. This is just the week past. I almost was there, but I can't be there tonight. It's a wonderful thing to think about how many people are there that I would know and remember remember the time I was there so fondly. But the driver was the Vice-Chancellor at the time, David Pennington, was surprised one morning when he opened the Melbourne newspaper to see on facing pages of the newspaper ads for a master's degree in environmental science from the science faculty and a master's degree in environmental studies from the arts faculty, the same sized ads on facing pages advertising what looked to be the same product but with different points of entry, different people to ring, different names, different departments. And he said, we're competing with ourselves, this is detrimental, this is not effective, you have to fix this. I think that really was the primary driver. It was a single event, and the two incumbents at the time were the two Deputy Vice-Chancellors, Boris Shedman and Frank Fisher. They set about trying to solve this problem. They advertised for a person to run this, to try and look for a solution, and I ended up with the job. And the job was to reconcile the competing objectives of 10 deans. I went around the departments and the faculties, spoke with as many people as possible, and everybody felt that they were the primary source of wisdom for the environment, and with some justification in every case. And there were programs in almost every faculty, certainly incentives in every faculty to do something related to the environment, except for music. I've got to say, music weren't involved, but the other 10 were. And we had a series of meetings. We met and talked at length about how to resolve this. Ian Marshman, in the end, met with all 10 deans, and I was there as well, and said, look, we don't sell subjects, we sell degrees. We want a single degree in this area. You have to reconcile your differences and come up with something that serves the market. And that's what we did. We set about discussing this. And the deans themselves were inclined to cooperate. They were smart, insightful, thoughtful, and their wisdom was that we ought to have as much flexibility as we possibly could have, because we couldn't predict who was going to come in the door. We couldn't say a priori what a person will need to get from where they were to where they wanted to be in their career. And that wisdom, which was the collective thinking of these 10 people, was what led to the development of the program as we know it now.
Awesome, that's a cool story. And so can you tell us about the story of your first student?
The first person to submit an application was a really interesting case. And it really resonated with the wisdom, the predictions, I guess, of the deans and their collective judgments. The idea was that we tailor a program to suit the person in front of us, that we delegate responsibility for a program from a set of statutes or guidelines or prescriptions to a conversation between the Office for Environmental Programs and the student. That was unusual, it still is unusual amongst universities, and amongst certainly this one and other universities. That demands some trust. Now, this person, the first person through the door, effectively, was a woman in her 30s who had a business designing packaging, and she was a design professional. She wanted to form a collective of like-minded people who were interested in sustainability, who could set about a network, a professional network that would be devoted to sustainable packaging. And you think, well, what a great idea. And what did she need? She needed some waste management, she needed some chemistry, she needed some life cycle assessment, she needed some training in the psychology of perception of these issues and human behaviour and its attitude towards packaging and purchasing. We could fill all of those by reaching out into the faculties, or the faculties of science, engineering, arts, law, at the time agriculture and land systems, I think it was called. So no one department or faculty could serve her objectives, but collectively we could, and we did. And I think that was really a metaphor for the way in which the program has behaved since, and I think it's the key to its success.
That's a really nice story. Do you know the student's name?
No, I don't, I'm afraid. It was a long, long time ago, and she was one of many fantastic people, so I can't recall her. Maybe she's in the crowd, maybe she will identify herself, but no, I can't remember who it was anymore.
Well, if you're here tonight, put your hand up and give a dance. No, thank you very much for coming and talking to us. Flying all the way from Australia just to do this interview? No.
All the way from England? Yes,
Yeah.
no. But, hello and goodbye, and I hope it's a great night.
It's a great opportunity for me now to be present at the 20th anniversary of the Office for Environmental Programs. I've always been interested in science as a kid. When I went to university, it was inevitable that I would move into science. Gradually, the importance of the environment became obvious. Unless we've got an environment that is kind to us in terms of how we live and grow, we're going to be in trouble. So we've got to get ourselves involved, all of us, in the detailed understanding of what things are needed, and then make sure we bring them about. And it all came about when I returned to Melbourne University. I went back to my old department in geology, and I got a phone call one afternoon from Boris Shedvin, who was the Deputy Vice-Chancellor. He said, "We're coming up with an idea." It was a very new concept. The first time that a program had been set up in the university in which all the faculties were involved. It wasn't owned by science alone. It wasn't owned by arts. Everybody was involved, and they all contributed. We called it the Office for Environmental Programs. The idea was to be involved in using the whole resources of the university, with the exception of music, in a program which would address the needs for environmental studies for people from all its faculties. It's worked out better than any of us ever expected. It has been a very successful program in providing academics and students with entry into the importance of environmental activities, and to do that with rigour, not just people saying, "I'm going to be this or that," but actually being involved in it, creating differences, creating better outcomes for everybody. And that's been, to me, the exciting thing, is to see that outcomes have really improved right across the board. The growth has been spectacular in the student numbers. The whole business about Office for Environmental Programs is all about community, about their importance of issues that the community is concerned about and can contribute to. So I'm still very much involved, and I'm just so proud to be so. It's a great university. Everybody's involved. Everybody wanted it to be a success, and it was. And it's something I'm very, very proud to have been involved with.